Miller Jayapal, a Democrat of Washington State.
So, Congressman, we've got inflation still an issue. You got tariffs wrecking the U.S. economy. And now on top of that, you have a loyalist running the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I thought Donald Trump was voted into office to handle the economy, almost a single issue he was supposed to be focused on. What happened?
Well, I think that he lied. He lied to people and said that he was going to bring down costs on day one. And the reality is that that is not at all what he's done. His tariffs, his unhinged tariff policy has raised prices for everyday Americans on everything that they need to survive. Small businesses, I just had a small business roundtable, and I'm hearing about all of the ways in which these small businesses already operate on narrow margins. And now with the unpredictability, the uncertainty, and the crazy tariff policy, they are really struggling. Many are closing. And I think across the board now, Trump's answer to this is lie some more. Install somebody at the Bureau of Labor Statistics who is going to give him a jobs report that he likes, not a jobs report that is true. And in fact, I even saw some Wall Street folks and, people who rely on these numbers across the ideological spectrum saying, what do we do in this unprecedented situation where Trump has created so much sort of despair about these government agencies providing factual information that he's now going to install his own and rig the statistics. He tried to rig the election. Now he wants to rig the statistics. And I think that this is a real problem. At the end of the day, though, Alicia, Simone, I think people are still going to see their prices going up. I mean, you can rig the statistics, but you can't rig the cash at home. It only goes so far. And so, but it's a very serious and dangerous situation for the United States.
Dangerous and serious is absolutely right. In other countries like Argentina, the Soviet Union, Venezuela, when they have manipulated, downplayed, or just not reported this kind of data before, it leads to destabilization of the economy. It leads to investors leaving. This is why some people, the economic situation is why people are fleeing Venezuela. People will hear this conversation, Congresswoman, and say, okay, but why do we care about the BLS data? These are the government agencies that use the consumer price index data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Federal Reserve, they use it to guide monetary policy and rate setting. The IRS uses it to adjust federal tax brackets. The Social Security Administration and the USDA, they use it to determine eligibility for Social Security and SNAP. This goes directly to the heart of so many things people care about.
Really important that you pointed that out, because sometimes data can just seem like it's not that important, not that relevant. It is used to determine the benefits that accrue to Americans. It's used also, Social Security, right? What are your Social Security benefits? There's so many ways in which this data is going to directly affect Americans' lives and the benefits and the payments that they get. And the guy that Trump has nominated for this position, E.J. Antony, is somebody who has said that we should get rid of the jobs report, the monthly jobs report. And so these are all indicators that everybody looks at every month. And it also guides American economic policy. It guides markets around the world. There are a lot of effects to this. And at the end of the day, I think the distrust of facts, science, research, data is so destabilizing and again, dangerous. I mean, I'm trying to find the right words for it, but it gets hard with all the overflow of awful things that are happening. It really does matter. And it matters because this is what dictators do, Simone. They take over the systems, they militarize they weaponize our military. They do a lot of the things that Donald Trump is doing right now.
Well, let's stay on that point. Congress is going to have to vote when you return on whether or not they want to see an extension of what Donald Trump has done in Washington, D.C., a deployment of the National Guard. You hearing anything from your Republican colleagues about where they are on this?
I haven't heard anything, but it is so contrary to typical Republican, policy. Why would people want to have the federal government coming in and taking over states with our military presence? I mean, not only, again, unprecedented move to deploy U.S. military against Americans on our soil in states like, in places like Los Angeles, in that case, without the permission of the governor. In the D.C. case, it is supposed to be in emergency situations. And what we are starting to see, Alicia, is that Donald Trump is calling whatever he doesn't like or whenever he wants to deflect attention from the big bad betrayal bill, from the unpopularity of everything that he's doing. He uses the military as a tool and as a weapon to try and distract Americans. That is also extremely dangerous because he's already said that he wants to do this in cities and states across the country. The Washington Post had that report today. So I think Americans have to understand that he's doing this in D.C. He did it in L.A. He could do it in your city, in your state, and you would be in the situation where you would have a militarized force being used essentially against U.S. citizens on U.S. soil.